People say money doesn't buy happiness, and I get it. Most of the time when people say that, they're trying to say something true. They're trying to remind us that a new thing will not save an empty life, that you can buy expensive objects and still feel lost, that you can have more than enough and still not know what to do with yourself. Right. Money can't buy love, peace, or a meaning. It can't buy the ability to sit alone with yourself and feel okay. But I also think that the phrase is too simple, because sometimes money buys something that gets very close to happiness. Sometimes it buys relief or a simple dinner, but sometimes it buys a doorway. For me, one of those doorways was this camera,
Tá aqui.
the Sony A7S3. I know it sounds a bit dramatic to talk about a camera like this. At the end of the day, it's just an object. It's metal, glass, batteries, menus, buttons, memory cards, and all the technical things people love to argue about online.
É agora.
But I don't think I wanted this camera because of the object itself. I wanted what it could give me access to. I wanted to film the stars, not just photograph,
Meu Deus.
but to actually film them. The darkness, the landscape, the silence, the movement of the sky. Que linda.
Olá. Vem. Bora.
Que eu tô mexendo na câmera. Não posso ter pelos. I want to try to film the feeling of standing outside at night, under the entire universe. That idea stayed in my head for a long time. This is amazing. That sensor is huge.
Tirei. Só que eu tô sem cartão.
The first time I ever experienced a proper night sky with no light pollution was around 2019. I was with my family, camping on top of a mountain in northern Portugal, and it was freezing. I remember looking up and being amazed, but what really stayed with me was what happened when you looked at the camera. The camera could see the Milky Way, much better than the eye, and that completely got me. Because suddenly the sky was not just beautiful, it had another layer. There was something mysterious there that I could not fully see with my own eyes, but the camera could. The Milky Way was there. I will never forget how I felt the first time I saw it. It was just right above us. I felt like I was in National Geographic. I think that was the first time I understood that photography is not only about keeping memories. Astrophotography helps us see the deepness of the universe. The universe is much more than you see. That night, I had no idea what my dad was doing. We didn't have the best gear, but the feeling was already there. I wanted to see more. Then, in 2025, I discovered Aline Wallace's YouTube channel. You know, you look at someone online, at least that's my point of view, because I used to do e-commerce and there was all these people trying to sell you courses, like 2,000 euro or dollars courses, and it was just nasty. So the first time that I see people online, I just assume that it wants to sell you something really expensive that is not worth it, and that was my thoughts for Aline Wallace as well, and he was, well, not like that. And that was one of the things that made me really like him. His humility. And he actually inspired me to get these lenses. This lens and this camera. And look at this sky! Oh, look at that! I only found his work after he had already passed away. There's something very sad about that. You find someone's voice, someone's passion, someone walking under the stars and explaining the sky with so much life, but the person is no longer here. Alien's videos brought back the feeling that I had in 2019, that desire to go outside at night, search for dark places, learn the sky, and treat the night as something alive instead of just empty darkness. So, from that point on, this camera became connected to a dream. Not some huge dream in the eyes of the world, it's just a dream of a random guy. To stand outside at night and film the thing that had amazed me years before. So, after dreaming about this camera and lens for about a year, I finally bought it. The Sony A7S3 and the 24 f1.4. And the funny thing about wanting something like this is that you're not really dreaming about owning it. You're dreaming about the life that might happen around it. The trips, cold nights, remote roads, spending time awake all night long stargazing. The first time you looked at the footage and realized that somehow you actually filmed the stars, and that was exactly what I wanted to do. But the moment I finally got the camera, the sky disappeared. For months, I had imagined the perfect first night with clear skies, the Milky Way above me and everything finally happening exactly the way I imagined. But instead, I got clouds. A lot of clouds. And then came the storms. Really? I bought a camera to film the stars and the sky responded by closing itself completely just the day my camera arrived. But that didn't stop me and my wife to have a little bit of fun.
Que legal, isso não precisa, certo?
There were moments where the whole sky would light up for a second. Beautiful lighting cutting through the clouds, appearing and disappearing so fast. It was incredibly beautiful seeing the lightnings coming from the sky and extending for miles. I had bought the camera for the stars, but the first thing it gave me was storms and lightning, and it was a wonderful night. Não sei. Só que olha, aparecem ali e eu aponto para ali. Depois aparecem ali. Oh, caralho! But then, about a month later, it finally appeared. I have arrived from work tired, with my head still full of the noise of the day, and the sky was finally clear. The summer has arrived. Just like that, after all the clouds, after the storms, after weeks of waiting, the sky was finally open. I've been waiting for this moment for almost a year. There was no dramatic build-up or cinematic adventure. It was just moments of solitude with me, the stars, the moon, and my cats. So I grabbed the camera, made dinner, picked up a camping chair and went outside. And there they were, the stars, above my house. And that was the moment the camera finally made sense to me. We spent so much of life under roofs, lights, schedules, notifications, and responsibilities, and every single day we missed the diamonds floating in the sky. They had been there all along, but now I could bring them closer. I could feel them. For a few minutes, I wasn't thinking about work. I wasn't thinking about bills, or if spending 3,000 euros on a camera had been rational. Because it wasn't. This has definitely been one of the most relaxing dinners that I've had in a long time. Just having dinner below the sky full of stars. If it wasn't the moon, the sky would probably be just completely filled with stars. I have this constellation up here. I think it's the Ursa Major, how do you say? The camera was finally doing what I had dreamed it would do. Ursa Major. But more than that, it was helping me to contemplate the beauty in the stars of the universe. Arcturus. Something very simple that modern life makes it impossible to do, especially if you live in a big city. There's a satellite over there. There's just a lot of satellites. I think there's much more satellites now than a few years ago. First time I saw a satellite, I was like, well, it can't be an airplane, because an airplane would be much slower. But it also can't be a shooting star, because a shooting star would be just half a second. Is that a UFO? I think that's an UFO. That was my first thing. But then I remembered that, well, satellites exist. It's amazing that you can actually point the camera towards the stars and you film it. I didn't think that was actually possible. Oh wow, look at that. I'm really looking for the future to having a lot more fun with this camera. We buy the shoes, but never run. We bought a notebook, but never write. I don't want this camera to become that. I don't want it to say beautiful because it was never used. I want it to be cold from nights outside. I want it to have scratches. Well, maybe not. I want it to remind me of places, not just purchases. Or that I spend my savings on this kit. You see, money only becomes happiness when it turns into experiences and memories. I feel like eating something sweet, but I'm actually thirsty, so I don't know what to do. I have pineapple. Oh, that's nice. Yes. So yes, money can buy happiness. The kind of happiness that appears when something gives you access to a life you actually want to be in. The happiness of stepping outside after work. The happiness of seeing the stars above your own house. The happiness of realizing that an ordinary night can be incredibly beautiful. And you can buy the peace for wanting to be outside in silence, just listening to the crickets. The problem is not wanting things. The problem is forgetting what things are for. The camera is not for becoming impressive, it's for seeing. And money is not happiness. But sometimes it can become a bridge towards it. If that bridge leads you outside, under a sky full of stars, or back home to the smile of someone you love, then maybe money has done something good. Maybe it has not bought happiness itself, but it has bought the conditions for a small, real piece of it to appear. And sometimes, after a long day, after a cloudy month, In a life that is often tired and ordinary, a small piece of happiness is already a lot. When we start to see things to buy, especially cameras, we get so confused on the specs, the megapixels, full frame, full stack sensor. We get excited by numbers, but I didn't care about that. I just wanted a camera to film the stars. But even before that happened, the camera was already changing the way I looked at things. It made me more curious. It made me want to pick it up and go somewhere with it. It made ordinary scenes feel worth recording. Books can give us a way to escape, cars or motorcycles give us freedom, but stargazing gives us a connection to the infinite universe. And for me, this camera gives me a way to freeze these moments forever. This camera makes me leave my house. It helps me to be in silence, and it reminds me that life isn't only work, bills, tiredness, screens and repetitive routines. There's still wonder available, and a lot of it. Sometimes it just needs something that pulls you toward it. A few weeks ago, I was with my wife at the shopping center, and we were just walking around, not doing anything special really. But we entered this store where there was a section with a lot of figures from movies, and she saw this figure that when she saw it, it blew her mind. When I saw her reaction, I was happy and sad at the same time, because well, I was happy because she saw something that she loved it, but I was sad because, well, at the moment I didn't have the money to give her. She just stood there like 10 minutes looking at her. It was, wow, I wouldn't imagine that some figure like that would make her that reaction. But the thing is that from a movie that she loves, Corpse Bride. I'm really happy for this because, you know, I spent a year in Brazil, as you might know if you follow this channel. The expenses that we had was just like food and water and gas and electricity and maybe just a pizza out. There was nothing like just, I want to give you this for you to keep it and you watch it whenever you want to. So this is really the first time that I'm giving her something like this. I have just received my salary and my wife isn't home, so I'm going to take this opportunity to buy her that. So here it is. It's this one. So yeah, it's really, I actually really loved the detail, the attention to detail out of that figure. So yeah, I'm going to buy and wait a few days for it to arrive, and we'll see how she reacts. And now let's see. Nice. Oh yes. I really hope that she likes it. I'm probably not the best person to do this, but I'll do my best.
Dá pra te comer? Não!
Olha aí.
Isso, tá gulosa! Que susto!
Esse é mais fácil de tirar. Também é mais bonito.
Não, Izzy! Acho que ela pensa que é um bicho.
Deixa-me pôr maior para ela não bonito. Rasga tudo.
Mas eu não quero rasgar o papel.
Por quê?
Depois não sei de novo. Já que eu tô. Agora ela ficou, eu tô tudo plástico. Ah, não acredito.
O que foi?
Eita, tá bem fechado. Que linda! Ai, tô com medo de quebrar. E agora? Que linda! Que lindo, olha. Olha o melzinho dela verde! Olha, olha, que lindo! A aliança dela é pequenininha e tem aqui a marquinha na bochecha. Ai, que bonitinho! Bonitinho! Borboleta. O preço.
Não!
Será que a pessoa aqui embrulhando presta atenção no seu
Eu não reparei.
Não deu tempo de ver direito.
Pronto, já podes
Que
ir.
coisa é aí? Que bonitinho. O preço. Que costelinha, que fofinho. Eu gosto de ver a aliança dela. Esse é o tipo de coisa que se uma criança ganhasse eu não ia ficar com muita raiva. Que bacana. Que linda. Emily. Acho que o nome da minha filha vai ser Emily.